Hello, and welcome to the nonprofit world, where we highlight organizations and individuals who are passionate about empowering people to make a difference in the lives of others. I'm Paula Sorrells-Bean, your host for today's program. And with me, I'm so excited, I've got Mary Etter, who is the Executive Director for Bristol Adult Resource Center. Welcome to our program, Mary.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad that you're here. I've known about your program for a few years, and I love your mission statement, advocating personal growth and community inclusion for all we serve. So would you tell us a little bit about who you serve in the community?
Certainly. We serve adults with developmental disabilities from age 18 to 80s. We have several folks that are elderly in our programs. And it's very important for us to continue that mission that was given to us by parents of children with developmental disabilities back in the 50s and 60s. And they believed that their children could be out in the community, that they did not have to be sent away to institutions.
Absolutely.
And we take that very seriously, and we're very excited about the opportunities that we're able to provide.
Wonderful. And we're going to talk about some of those opportunities today, and talk about some of your volunteers and how you get funding and that type of thing.
Great.
So I'm really excited and looking forward to that. Your program is dedicated to finding jobs for individuals and ensuring their success through ongoing training, guidance, and supervision. So can you talk a little bit about how you help these individuals to find jobs in the community?
Sure. We have, first of all, we have some programs where individuals work at our day program on Jerome Avenue. We have a restaurant where the public comes in 11:30 to 2, Monday through Friday, and the people that we support are able to learn how to prepare the food, how to serve the food, all the aspects of running a restaurant. We also have a greenhouse, which we call Jerome Gardens, and we have individuals that are learning how to care for plants with an aquaponics program as well, and they care for the fish in the aquaponics program. We also have a yard service program where folks are out in the community taking care of people's lawns. We also have an art program where people are learning art skills, and all of these programs are helping these folks to develop skills and some of those skills will translate to being employed out in the community. So we use what's called a career plan to learn about what kinds of things people are interested in doing out in the community. And there really is a wide variety of opportunities out there. Then we try to make the connection with the local employer. And we have several people out in the community right now. We have somebody who's been at Bristol Hospital for, I believe, over 30 years.
Wow.
Working over there.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes, it really is. But we have people in real estate companies. We have people that are working for the city of Bristol. They're all over. It's great.
That's great.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. And you're also looking to find internships for some of these individuals. Is that correct?
Yes, we're trying to develop a program that will provide learning opportunities with companies out in the community. So the companies out in the community would not have to pay our individuals. They would get the supports and services that we're able to provide, and we would use that as a training so that they could get jobs out in the community.
Wow, that sounds like a great opportunity, both for the businesses and for the individuals that are looking for the internship.
Yep. We're very excited about that.
That's great. I hope that works out.
I do too.
For you. I want to talk a little bit more about the restaurant. I was looking at your website, and there are some testimonials, I guess, from some of the individuals. And if it's okay with you, I'd like to just read a couple of those. One of them says, our ages are from 21 to 68. Some of us have worked at many jobs in the past, but for some of us, this is our first job. We may live in our own apartment, group home, or with our parents. The staff makes sure that we are taught the right skills, and they give us encouragement to learn, grow, and make choices for ourselves. We feel safe and confident in our abilities. Some of us may move to another job in the community.
Yep.
So it really shows that that they're just gaining a lot from those opportunities to work.
And what I think is the best part, it's all of that and it's excellent food.
That's
it really,
great.
really is.
That's great.
Yep.
So we want to encourage our viewers to come and visit the
Yeah,
restaurant.
I would love that.
Monday, tell me your hours again.
Monday through Friday, 11:30 to 2.
11:30 to 2. Okay, well that is wonderful. And you also have some other programs. You've got a recreational program that you have. Do you want to talk a little bit about
Sure.
that? And
Yep, we provide a program that is after work hours that helps particularly our families out in the community who are still living with their adult children with disabilities to have extra time to get the things done that you and I might do on our way home from work. So these adult children have lived with their families their entire lives, and it's very important to those parents to have a safe place for their adult child to be while they're taking care of the things that we do every day. So that's a lot of fun, that program. It's arts and crafts, it's Zumba, bingo, there's dances, there's all sorts of great things for folks to do. So it's a great recreation program for the individuals, but it's really respite for the adults, the parents
helping
of those
the
children.
families out as well.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
great. Now, how many people do you serve on a daily basis? How many individuals?
We serve 150 individuals in our day programs, and we serve 41 people in our residential programs.
Okay.
And all of those residential programs are located in Bristol, and the majority of the people that we support during the day are also from Bristol.
Okay. All right. And so do you find that a lot of the individuals stay at home with their parents, especially while they're younger?
We're about 50% right
Okay.
now. 50% of the people that we support during the day are living at home with their families, and the other 50% are living in group homes, either supported by BARC or other agencies.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. Are there any of the other of the programs that you'd like to kind of highlight or speak additionally about, like the art program or the Jerome Gardens?
Yep. We have, so some of our programs are not work-related.
Okay.
So our art program is technically considered an activity during the day, although the individuals do have the opportunity to earn money from the commission of their paintings. But they spend a lot of time learning about colors, learning about techniques, learning about artists, and it's really a nice program that has just filled our building with beautiful paintings.
Sure.
All of the paintings are available for purchase as well.
Okay.
So we are working on some greeting cards for Christmas time, and we've done calendars in the past. We're trying to think of new ways to get our art out in the community. We were just at the senior center this past weekend as well.
Okay. Great. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. And the Jerome Gardens, that sounds fascinating to me.
It is nice. It's we have a greenhouse right at our Jerome Avenue facility, and that was put up by Unico back in the 1970s, and it's still active now. The individuals in that program take care of the plants, take care of the fish in the aquaponics program as well. That was funded through the Main Street Community Foundation and the Farmington Bank Community Foundation several years ago.
Wonderful, wonderful. And then what about yard services? What can you tell me a little bit more about that? I've actually seen some of the individuals out working in yards. So can you tell me a little bit more about how to get those services?
Yep.
as an
The
individual?
phone number is on our website. It's a cell phone number that the person that supervises the program has, and unfortunately I don't know the number off the top of my head. But we do provide yard services out in the community in the greater Bristol area. Right now they're starting to concentrate on fall cleanup to take care of everybody's leaves prior to the snow falling, and then they do spring cleanup in the spring as well.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
So it gives them an opportunity to work, and again helps in the community as well.
Absolutely.
So that's great. That is fabulous. Did you talk a little while ago about the Candy Kitchen? Is that
We do. We right now have a candy kitchen. They actually only operate for part of the year, and right now they're working on Halloween candy. But they'll be working on Christmas candy shortly, as well as some Thanksgiving pops as well. And then they operate up until Easter, and then they're off for the summertime.
okay?
Yep.
Great. So how do you get your funding? Where do your funds come from?
We have a contract from the State Department of Developmental Services that provides the funding that we use to pay our staff.
Okay.
They also pay for our vehicles and our building expenses. But it's foundations in the community that help contribute to the extras that we need when we're doing program startups, like I mentioned, the aquaponics program, and then also the United Way of West Central Connecticut provides funding for our recreation program.
Okay.
As well as we have many generous contributors in the community, which is such a big help to us.
I'm sure. And you also have coming up in the spring, or hopefully in the spring, a golf tournament.
Yes, we do a golf tournament. We've done it for the past 3 years with Park of Plainville, and they provide support similar to what we do. So volunteers from Park and volunteers from BARC get together and do this joint tournament. And we made, I think it was about $15,000 last year that we were able to split between the two agencies, and it's certainly a big help to us when we can do that.
Great. And how do people get involved in that if they want to be a part of the golf tournament?
So we have a website, www.bristolarc.org, and there's buttons on the website on the homepage that will tell you how you can volunteer and how you can contribute.
Okay. Wonderful. That's great. That's great. And then you also have a gala that you probably will do in the fall of 2019.
Yes, we call it a night for our stars to shine, and we honor our employees as well as the individuals that we support. We have we call them of the year awards for the employee of the year, the substitute employee of the year, the individual of the year for all of our locations. And then we also give an award to the philanthropist of the year, which is a community member that has shown great support for our mission. And it's just such a fun night. And of course it ends with dancing, because just about everything we do ends with dancing. So it's a lot of fun.
It sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds wonderful. And then again, your website is available for people to donate or get involved. Tell us a little bit about you, Mary. How did you get involved with BARC?
So I started 6 years ago, and I have 20 plus years of other nonprofit experience. And I started at BARC as the finance director, and in December of 2016, I was promoted to executive director. And it's just such a great opportunity for me to use all the different types of experience that I've gathered throughout my career. And I feel like this is where it was meant to be, that it was meant to focus on what I'm doing right now.
Wonderful, wonderful. And how do you get your volunteers? How do you get volunteers?
We try to reach out in the community to find volunteers. It's very difficult to find volunteers, but we're looking for more for our day programs, also for our restaurant. Volunteers really help us make that all happen. So we'd love to get any volunteers that would be interested. And they can see how to do that on our website as well.
Okay. Are there any particular kinds of individuals that you're looking for, or just any kind of volunteer?
It has to be an adult if they're working directly with the individuals. We do actually have a school program, though, with St. Paul Catholic High School, where some of the seniors come in and do some volunteering. They're doing that with our staff. They're not doing that on their own. But for the most part, most of our volunteers are 18 and older. And so we have some elderly volunteers, and some that are older that will help with our restaurant, but then others that periodically help with our recreation program. And then we have some musicians that come into some of our day programs and provide some music therapy for our folks.
That's nice.
So it is nice. We can always use more of those.
Okay. And how big is your staff?
We employ almost 200 people.
Is that right?
BARC. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm trying to find out how that compares with other employers in Bristol, but I believe we're pretty big.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you looking for any staff at this point, or are you?
Yes, we are.
You
we
are?
have a variety of different openings, most of them in our residential programs, and those openings can be found on our website as well, all different shifts, so we can really accommodate anybody who's looking to work with us. We'd be happy to have them apply.
That's great.
Yep.
That is wonderful. So tell me again what your mission statement is and how you're going about fulfilling that.
So our mission is advocating personal growth and community inclusion for those we serve. And we really feel that community inclusion needs to be all aspects of your life. Mm-hmm. It's where you live, it's where you work, it's where you shop, it's where you play, it's all of those things. And so we focus on all of our programs being out in the community. Our restaurant is actually in the community. We're at Jerome Avenue, and we're in a residential neighborhood nestled between a bunch of houses, and we love that we're there with everybody in the community, and that's really that's what the parents who founded Bark wanted for their children, and I'm glad that we can give that to them.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. We talked a little bit about this, but who actually founded the Bark program?
Parents back in the late 50s, and this was a nationwide movement. Parents really felt that their children deserved better than to be shut away in institutions. Mm-hmm. So they looked to develop programs that would provide supports for their children, and then it grew to provide supports for their children after school. So from that small grassroots movement, we've grown to serve over 150 people during the day, which is very exciting to me.
That's wonderful.
There's agencies that provide similar services all across the country. These parents, all at the same time, truly felt that their children deserved better.
And do most of the children and adults that come into your program, are they from this area, from the Bristol and surrounding area?
Yes, the majority of the folks that we support are in Bristol or the very adjoining towns, but we do serve some folks from as far away as Watertown.
And are they, what is the range of their disabilities?
We have some folks that are mildly intellectually disabled, and we actually serve some folks that are more severely disabled. We have a day program over on Lake Avenue that actually has full-time nursing care. So that's a great option for some people who might think that they might not be able to be served in the community. We have a nurse right on site so that they have that support.
Wonderful. And you have transportation for people to get to your...
We do. We also have paratransit, the CT Transit, that provides some of our transportation. And then we also have some folks that their parents provide their transportation.
Okay. All right. That's great. So I know that this is probably a just a wonderful opportunity for parents to offer something to their disabled child or adult, and then give them some space as well to go about their business and do the things that they need to do.
I think the programs that we provide enable parents to be able to work. If you had the 24/7 responsibility for your adult child, you wouldn't be able to work outside the home.
Right.
So I'm very glad that we can do that.
Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. I'm going to go back just a moment to the gala, and you might have touched on this already, but one of the things that we were talking about earlier is that not only do you value the community, but you value your employees, and the gala is a time for you to do that. And I think it's really important that organizations let their employees know that they are valued. Because with any job, it's, not everything is fun and not everything is easy, and there are challenges in there to overcome. But is there anything else that you might want to share about how you value your employees?
One of the most favorite parts for me of the gala is the awards that we give for length of service. We have some folks that have worked for Bark. We have one person in particular who's been there for over 40 years.
Wow.
And to me, that's just remarkable. You don't hear about that happening anymore. We also have some folks that have been there for 30 years, for 25 years, for 20 years. And I think that enables us to provide continuity and support that really helps our parents to be able to do the things they need to do, but also have the confidence in the agency itself.
I think too, it says a lot about the individuals, because there's got to be a lot of passion there for them to work at the same place for 30 or 40 years. And so that says a lot for the organization, but it also says a lot for the employee.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we have great employees at BARC. Every single day I see something that makes me proud to work there. Yeah. It's a great place.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. What kind of community outreach are you doing?
So I'm a member of the Bristol Rotary, and just about every week my fellow Rotarians get to hear stories about what we do at BARC. So I take that time and those networking opportunities to make sure that people are aware of the work that we do and the support that we need from the community. But I've been trying to go to chamber events as well and meet others in the community to keep telling them about what we do so that they'll know who we are and where we are.
That's great. That's wonderful. Are you doing any advertising right now?
Yes, actually we are on AMP Radio, which is the gas station radios here in Bristol, and we're doing a survey at the dining room to find out how people are hearing about us. And we actually had one person who completed the survey last week who heard about us at the gas station, got back in their car, and came right over for lunch.
Is that right?
That was awesome. We had received a marketing grant from the Main Street Community Foundation, and we're using that to fund these radio advertisements, and it was just a great thing to hear that there's some impact out there.
Right.
And I'm hoping it'll bring more people into us as well.
That's wonderful. I hope so. I hope so too. Do you work with other organizations? Are you that do similar types of things?
Well, we have the golf tournament that we do with Park.
Okay.
But we're always working with other organizations, because a lot of the people that come to our day programs live in homes that are supported by other organizations. So it really takes the community working together to make sure that the person is getting the right supports.
Yeah. That's great. It's great to have that when the community comes together to make a program like this successful.
Yep,
as well as the employees and the families that are supporting it. So, what do you think, in your opinion, what do you think makes the program successful?
I really think it's the commitment of the staff, as well as the families that started BARC and the families that continue to be involved in BARC. But of course, we couldn't do any of this without the state funding that we receive. DDS truly cares about the individuals that we all support out here in agencies in the communities. And they always are available if we have questions or concerns. They're just a great support to us. But it's really the community as well. It's the foundations in the community that I've mentioned in the past: Main Street, the Farmington Bank Community Foundation, also Thomaston Bank, and then the individuals that support us by coming to our restaurant or by buying plants at our greenhouse or any of the things that we do. We really couldn't do any of it without the community.
Right. And you're also a United Way
Absolutely.
program.
The United Way of West Central Connecticut supports our recreation and respite program. They're the main single funding source for that program, and we're very grateful for their support.
Okay. Is the recreation and respite, is that all one?
It is all one, and it's got those two names because it's recreation for the individual that's participating, and it provides respite for the parents and for the families. So that's why we call it recreation respite.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's great. Do you, now most of your individuals are 18 and older, right?
They're all over 18.
Okay.
Yep.
So do any of them take like college classes? Are they taking any classes after, because they would have finished high school by this time,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
So are they continuing their education in any way?
Most of the folks that we support aren't able to do that.
Okay.
DDS has a IQ threshold of 70, so anybody who has an IQ below 70 is eligible to receive supports through DDS.
Okay.
So people at BARC are not taking college classes, but they're always learning. We have folks that work on money skills. We have folks that work on writing skills. We have folks that work on interviewing skills, all of those types of things, but no formal college classes.
And all of those things provided through BARC?
Correct.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah, that is wonderful. Say that again, Sarah. So once they've taken some of these classes with you, the interviewing skills and that type of thing, do you help them find jobs in the community?
Absolutely. We help them find them, and then we help them keep them. We provide ongoing supports while they're out working in the community. So we're visiting them at their work. In some instances, we're actually spending the first week or so directly with them, and then we taper that support off so that they are able to be successful on their own. But we're never just leaving them on their own. We're always coming back, checking in. How are things going? We talk to the boss. We talk to the folks that work there. The ideal is when that support is minimal and they're getting all the support that they need from the people that they work with.
Right.
That's the main goal.
And have you ever had, I almost hate to ask this question, but have you ever had any issues where there was, I don't want to say abuse, but where there were issues with an employee, or has everything been successful?
Out in the community?
Out in the community.
The main focus is to find something that the person's interested in. I think in previous years, we've thought that, the folks that we support can work in grocery stores, they can work doing cleaning and things like that. But the fact is, they're interested in more than that. So it's really, we have to take the time to find out what they're truly interested in, because you and I wouldn't go to a job and work at something that we weren't interested in. You're guaranteed not to be successful. So I think that's the most important part, is finding out what someone's interested in, and then trying.
Right.
There's no harm in failure, and you're never going to find what you're looking for without trying.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's only fair to give them the same opportunity, like you said, that you and I would have.
Absolutely.
To do what we want to do, rather than just what somebody
thinks we should do.
Or
thinks that that's all that we're capable of.
Yeah.
I think the folks that we support are capable of far more than people realize.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as you and I were talking earlier, we've come a long way. I do remember in the 60s when people were with disabilities were not necessarily living with their families and going through mainstream school and all the things that they are doing today.
Yep.
So we've really come a long way, and I think it's wonderful that family members can keep their children at home, raise them at home, and still have the support from an organization like BARC and then other organizations in the community.
I think it's great for the individuals, but it's also great for the rest of the community.
Yes.
Because I think you don't want to be hanging around with people that are exactly like you all the time. You want to be hanging out with all kinds of people, and that variety of different experiences is what makes a community.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Is there anything else, Mary, that you can think of that you would want to share with our viewers about your organization and what you do and how people can get involved?
Well, I would just love to point out our website again. I know I mentioned it earlier. It's www.bristolarc.org. There's tons of information on there about our restaurant, about our programs, about everything that we do, and that's the best place to find out information.
Okay. Do you, we have some more time to discuss, some more about your organization. Is there funding that allows you to do some ongoing evaluation to find out what things might need to be changed or updated or upgraded just on a regular basis? Is there funding for that?
No, that's really something that winds up being done as part of our strategic plan with our board of directors as well as with our senior management. Nobody wants to fund things like that, which is a shame, but we have a very active board of directors that is community members, parents, business people that are just enormous supporters of BARC, and we really couldn't do what we do without them. But we're working on our strategic plan for the next 5 years. The legislature, though, has given us funding to improve our minimum wage for the staff that work with our individuals. The legislature, particularly our local legislators, have been very supportive of the work that BARC and other agencies like us do, and they have allocated certain funds to increase the minimum wage of the staff that work at BARC. That will start January 1st, and we're hoping that that will help us to find and keep quality people.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Were you affected at all by the state budget cuts?
We were not cut, but last year with the delay in the implementation of the state budget, we actually had furlough days where we had to close BARC. These were days that DDS, the State Department of Developmental Services, told us we will not be providing funding for services on those days. So not only was BARC closed and the individuals that we support couldn't come to day program, but our residential programs were not provided any additional funding for providing that extra support during the day. And it was also a huge burden on parents who are out there trying to work, but we were shut down for a couple days.
And was that
really
like a last minute notice? I mean,
no, we were told at the end of June that there would be 6 furlough days. They actually cut it back to, we only had 2, which was great that they were able to get the budget in place. But it was very difficult for our staff who went without pay for those days, as well as our individuals. Some of our folks that we support crave that routine of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday coming to our building, and when they couldn't do that, it was extremely disruptive to them.
I'm sorry, I got a little, you worked in the for-profit area before you. No, you've always been in nonprofit.
I've always worked for nonprofits. I worked for the ARC of New London County and Waterbury ARC early on in my career. And then I worked at the Jewish Federation of Greater Hartford and its foundation, the Jewish Community Foundation. And then I also worked at the Connecticut Bar Association. So all of those experiences that I had in all of those different places are really helping me to do what I do at BARC.
Absolutely. Yeah. You also mentioned, we talked about this earlier, the leadership of Greater Hartford.
Yes.
That was a helpful place for you as well. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Sure. I was part of the Leadership Development Roundtable, which was run by several foundations in the state. And when I was in between jobs, I was offered the opportunity to work with Ted Carroll, who is the executive director of Leadership Greater Hartford. And just what a great man. He really helped me personally to see where it was I wanted to go and what it was I wanted to do, and validated my decision to stay in the nonprofit field, and I really valued that opportunity to work directly with him. He's just a really great man, and his agency is wonderful.
That's great. And are you still involved with the Leadership of Greater Hartford?
Because I'm so far west, I keep wanting to go to their events, and I think I'm going to need to make some time to do that because there's a lot of value in that.
Yeah, it's hard to get it all in, though.
Yes, it is.
As executive director, you've got a full job, and so it's hard to do some of the other things as well. Yeah. So, are you looking to expand your board, or does your board turn over periodically? how are you structured, and are you looking for additional board members?
We're always looking for new interested people to be involved on our board. We also have some committees where you don't have to necessarily have the board commitment, but you could participate on a committee where you have a particular interest, like marketing, finance, those kinds of committees.
Okay.
And that's kind of a nice thing if you don't want the every month meeting, but want to have a discrete project to work on. We're always looking for volunteers, both in our programs as well as on our board committees.
Okay. And what are some of the programs that that people can get involved with?
So at our restaurant, the Hidden Cafe, the register is run by strictly volunteers. So that's a huge help to us. It helps us save some money.
Okay.
But we also have some music therapists that come into our day programs, and that's extremely enjoyable for everybody, including the staff. If there's anybody who would like to volunteer with some art, knowledge, or discussion, or something like that, that would be a great resource for us as well.
Okay. Now, when you talk about music, what are you looking for? Somebody that plays an instrument, somebody that sings, both?
Both, either would be great.
Okay.
The music is such an important part of all of our lives, and I think we don't often take the time during the day to listen to music, and it really is great to watch how engaged and relaxed everybody is when we have somebody come in and we get to listen to music. It's great.
That's wonderful. Are there particular times of the day that you're looking for somebody to come in, or is it just vary depending on the day?
We could really work around anybody's schedule.
Okay.
Our typical day program hours are 9 to 3, and we are out in the community periodically throughout the day. So we could really work around anybody's schedule. That would be great.
That's wonderful. And does that individual, your volunteers, need to be 18 or older?
Yes, they should be 18 or older. We do have a program that we run with St. Paul Catholic High School where we have some high school students that are volunteering, but for the most part, our volunteers do need to be 18 or older.
Okay, great, great. All right. How much diversity do you have with your participants? I know you said the ages are from 18 to much older, but what other diversity do you have?
We have people of all races and ethnic backgrounds in our programs, as well as in our staff, which I think makes BARC a really wonderful place to be, and it's really great.
That's great. Yeah. Do people come and go in the program as far as the participants, or is it pretty steady?
It's steady. The individuals that are funded by the Department of Developmental Services have the ability to go to other agencies if they choose. But we don't find that happens very often, which I think is a testament to BARC and its programs. But I do like the fact that DDS offers program participants that opportunity because, like we talked about earlier, if you or I aren't happy somewhere, we're able to pick up and go, and anybody should be able to do that if they don't feel like they're getting the service that they should be getting.
Yeah, that's great. That's so true. Is there a waiting list of any sort? I mean, do you have people that are wanting to get in but you don't have space for?
We are almost at capacity, but we do have a few openings, and anybody who's interested in coming to our programs can contact us, and the information is on our website.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Great. If somebody wanted to start a similar type of program, would you have any kind of advice for that individual or group?
I think my most important advice would be to listen. I think that's one thing that's really helped me in my time as executive director is that I've been able to listen to all of the people that are involved in the agency. And that's not just the staff. It's not just the parents. It's not just the board. It has to be the individuals that we support. And I think I'm good at it, and I'm getting even better. It's a really important part of who we are and what we do, that we're listening to the people that we support.
And giving them a voice.
Absolutely.
The opportunity to speak up for themselves.
Absolutely.
And say what their needs are and what their desires are and
where they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I think that is such a great opportunity for them. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like there's a need for more organizations like BARC and PARC and others that are similar? Do you think there's a need for other organizations, or do you think that with what's currently in place that you're meeting the needs of the people in the community?
I think what's currently in place is good. We just all have to keep listening and keep moving and keep offering opportunities and finding out what people truly want to do. It's the day isn't about what I want you to be doing, it's about what you want to be doing. And it's really important to us that we are offering those kinds of programs.
Yeah. Is there a lot of collaboration between, I know we talked about like with your fundraising, but is there a lot of collaboration between the similar organizations just throughout the year?
Well, all of the individuals that we support have case management that's provided from the Department of Developmental Services. Okay. So we're always working with them, but also a lot of the people that we support live in group homes that are supported by other agencies, so we're working with them as well. So each person has that team of people from their day program, from the residential program. They themselves are a very important member of the team. Their family is part of the team. So it really is a group effort to make sure that all of the services that are being provided are appropriate.
And I know you're not a faith-based organization, but are there any faith-based programs within the organization?
No, we're really wide open to any faith. There's nothing that's specific to any faith where we are.
All right. So there's no types of studies or anything that go on that would be specific to
to any specific faith. No.
Okay. All right. Good. Wonderful. Do you have any, can you think of any like testimonials or anything from any of the individuals that maybe have said something to you about how they've enjoyed their time there?
Every day, literally every day, I have people telling me how much they love what they're doing. And that's staff and the individuals that we support. So it'd be really hard to just pick one. And I also find myself saying it out loud. So that's a really wonderful thing to be able to say that and to be able to hear that all day, every day from the people that you work with is really wonderful.
That is wonderful. Do you have, because you've got such a vast age group, age difference, do you have separate programs for the different ages, or an 18-year-old and a 50-something-year-old might, have different needs or different desires or interests. Yep. How do you deal with that?
We have our newest program, we call it the After Work Club, and it's for people that either worked out in the community and are no longer able to work out in the community, or were part of larger group day programs and they really needed a more quiet space to be. It's almost like a retirement program, and that's been a way that we've been able to ensure that those folks are getting the services that they want and aren't hanging out with people that don't have the same interests as they do. So we developed that program several years ago, and it's been very successful.
Great. Do you see a lot of interaction though between an 18-year-old and a 55-year-old?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no barriers between that, which is a great thing, because I think along with the diversity of race and of ethnic background, I think age is an important diversity aspect as well. And I think people have a lot to learn from younger people, and people have a lot to learn from older people. So
absolutely. Yep. And that's true for all of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what a joy it is to
see
learn,
it happen.
To see it happen. That's right. And to be a part of that as well. So,
so
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So so the program is year-round.
Yes.
So how does I know how, I'm from the South, so this is, the weather here is so different from what I was accustomed to for almost all of my life. how does the winter affect your programs? I mean, is it difficult for them to get there on what like the schools would consider a snow day? How does that affect your participants coming in?
So we occasionally have to close for bad weather. I don't like to do that because I know that the people that come to our programs really enjoy and want to be at our programs, but there are days that we do have to do that. Sometimes too we'll have a delayed opening to just give the people that plow our parking lots a little bit of extra time to clean them up. But there are times too that we'll close and our program participants won't come, but we'll use the opportunity for in-services or brainstorming with staff. So that's kind of a nice opportunity to do that as well.
Yeah.
But the weather is one of my biggest stresses.
Yeah.
I heard it's going to be a mild winter this winter.
I hope you're right.
I truly hope so too.
I hope you're right.
I don't mind the cold or the snow personally, but
Yeah.
but I have to be most concerned with the safety of the people that we support.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Now, I know that in some of your places you do have some nurses available and doctors. So is that kind of do you have nurses and doctors on staff that are available if somebody needs help during the day?
We have one of our day programs that's located on Lake Avenue, has nursing staff on site at all times that the program is open. And that's been able to allow us to provide supports to people with G-tubes and other medical type of situations who might not otherwise be able to be supported in a community-based program. Our residential program has nurses that are on call 24/7. So those folks always have the resource of a nurse. We do not have any nursing at Jerome Avenue though.
Okay. All right. Any kind of therapies that you offer, like speech therapy or physical therapy or occupational therapy, any of those?
We do have some folks that receive those types of supports, but they're generally paid for by the Department of Developmental Services.
And it's not done through your...
It could be done at our facility, but it's not done through with the supports that we provide.
What is the difference between residential program and other programs? If you've got someone that's in a group home, is the program that's available, say at Jerome, they just would come from their group home to the Jerome location?
Yep.
Okay, and they have transportation for that?
Typically, folks that live in BARC-supported group homes are transported by the group homes to our programs. The folks that live with their parents, sometimes their parents will drive them in. Sometimes they'll ride the CT Transit buses. They have bus tickets that they're allowed to use for that. And then sometimes we provide some runs, some transportation runs out in the community as well. Okay. So there's a variety of different ways that people can get there.
Can they have access for different ways?
We're lucky in Bristol that we have such good public transportation because there's a lot of communities in this state, agencies that provide similar services that one of their biggest struggles is transportation. Yeah. We're rather lucky here in Bristol.
I can see how that would be.
Yep.
Yeah. Year round, but especially in the wintertime too, because you've got to have a special vehicle sometimes to be able to get through the snow. So, yeah. So, okay. Well, we still have some time available. So, how do you train your employees? What kind of professional training do you have for them?
We actually have a ton of training. We have some training that's required by the Department of Developmental Services, so that we train our staff to learn what abuse and neglect obligations. We are what's called mandated reporters, so that if we see something that is even just suspected that's abuse or neglect, we need to report that. That's a very important thing that we train our staff very, very early on. They're all first aid CPR certified. We have a training called physical management techniques or psychological management techniques. It's called PMT. So the P really stands for both things, where we learn how to appropriately protect staff while not harming someone else. We do have some people with some pretty severe behaviors, and it's really important that the staff stay safe and keep the individual safe as well. But then we have a variety of online trainings as well. We do a defensive driving training of slips, trips, and falls, back safety. The list is really too long to even mention, but all of that training is really important. Then there's also the person-centered training where you're learning about the people that you're going to be working with. So you have that basic level of training that lasts a couple days, and then there's some computer assignments as well. But then you're going directly into the program and learning about the people that you support. People who work in our programs are required to read the information about the people that they support so that they know what the person's goals and objectives are, and are able to help support them.
And is that training done on site?
Correct.
Okay. And so when you say they need to know about the person, so you have something that they can either on the computer or print it out about each individual?
Yep.
Oh,
There's something called the person-centered plan. They're transitioning from calling it an individual plan, that each person that is supported by BARC through the Department of Developmental Services has that plan that talks about their history, their goals and objectives, what they want to do, and anything that we need to know about their medical situation. So you have to become familiar with all of those things before you're able to work in our programs. And it's really important to provide the quality supports that we provide. We also have specific training about autism, and not all of the folks that we support have autism, but it's important to know all of the different aspects of how to support somebody with autism. So that's a mandated training that we require our staff to take, that DDS is not requiring us to do that, but we think it's an important level of training to get.
Yeah. So do most of your participants that come to the day to be there during the daytime, do they start out at 18, or do you have them coming in at all different ages?
Traditionally, they come at 21.
21?
They could come at 18, but most of the school systems provide the extra additional supports to 21. I think they're required to provide that, but the student is not required to stay, so they could choose to leave at 18. Most students do stay, though, all the way until 21. But we have people coming in at all ages. The portability that I mentioned, if somebody feels like they're not getting great supports at their current day program, they're eligible to transfer, providing we have a spot for them and they can come to our day program. So that's kind of a nice thing. We have people transitioning in of all ages.
Yeah, so that's great. That's great. Well, it's good that the school system does what they're doing today to help these students to kind of stay mainstreamed and in the school system and in the classrooms, because I know that they have mixed classrooms where they have the students with other students that don't have the same disabilities, or maybe not any kind of disability. But so I think that's a wonderful. Maybe I don't know if that's real new or if that's been around for a long time, but that's a.
Well, I think we've come a long way since BARC started in 1957. I think it's great that all kids are learning about all kids, and that helps us when we're bringing folks out in the community, because it's not new to the people out in the community anymore, and that makes our job a little bit easier.
Yeah, well, it makes it easier for everybody, for the parent, for the child or the adult who's got the issue that they're dealing with. I think it's so important that that we all understand that we're all individuals, we're all people, and we all should be treated with kindness and respect. And respect. Absolutely.
Yep. I agree 100%.
Yeah, that's great. That is wonderful. Anything else, Mary, that that you can think of that you want to share with our viewers today? I think we've covered some pretty extensive ground.
Yeah, we have just a wide variety of programs, and I think what I do want to make sure is that when people come to our restaurant, they don't think that's the only thing that we do, because we have these homes in the community, we have the recreation program, and we have our day program over on Lake Avenue. So we're really able to provide different variety of level of supports for people. And I think anybody who wants any more information about that can definitely contact us.
Okay, and tell us again, Mary, tell the audience again how they can best contact you.
Yeah. Our website is www.bristolarc.org, and our phone number at Jerome Avenue is 860-582-9102. Our phone number at Lake Avenue is 860-584-0061.
Thank you so much, Mary, for joining us today.
Thank you for
appreciate
having
all
me.
that you're doing at the at BARC, the Bristol Adult Resource Center.
It's truly my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, and thank you for joining us today. And I hope that you will join us again at the Nonprofit World.